If you're a golf fan, or even just someone who occasionally tunes in, you probably remember that jaw-dropping moment when Jordan Spieth pulled off one of the most daring and unconventional shots ever witnessed. It happened at the Phoenix Open, where Spieth, staring down an impossible lie, stunned the golfing world with a left-handed shot using his putter. The crowd went absolutely wild. Fans were left speechless. Some even questioned if what they'd just seen was real. In that moment, Spieth didn't just make a shot, he made a statement. He showed the world that with a little creativity, adaptability, and fearlessness, even the toughest situations can lead to iconic moments. In this article, we'll break down exactly what went down, why it left such a mark, and how it's reshaping the way we think about playing under pressure in golf. From the electric setup of the Phoenix Open to the jaw-dropping execution of that unforgettable shot, let's break down what made this moment truly special. The Phoenix Open isn't your typical golf tournament. Held at TPC Scottsdale, it stands out on the PGA Tour for more than just its competitive field. The course itself is a real test. Narrow fairways, fast and tricky greens, and hazards lurking at every turn demand precision and nerve from every player. But what really sets this event apart is the atmosphere. Unlike the usual quiet, respectful hush of most golf tournaments, the Phoenix Open feels more like a stadium or rock concert. The fans are loud, passionate, and fully invested in every swing. They don't just spectate, they participate. That kind of energy turns up the pressure and makes every shot feel bigger. And into this charged environment walked Jordan Spieth, ready to compete and unknowingly ready to create one of golf's most unforgettable moments. There was definitely some pressure on Jordan Spieth going into the Phoenix Open. After a few years of up-and-down performances, fans and analysts alike were watching closely, wondering if he could reclaim the brilliance that once made him one of golf's brightest stars. Spieth had burst onto the scene early in his career, winning major championships and capturing hearts with his fearless play. But following a noticeable slump, the question lingered. Could he get back to that elite level? In the tournaments leading up to the Phoenix Open, Spieth had shown flashes of promise. His game was steady, solid, but not yet spectacular. Consistency, especially with his putting, still seemed just out of reach. But if there's one thing about Spieth, it's that he's always just one spark away from brilliance, and that spark came at the Phoenix Open. The stage was set on the 11th hole. Spieth's ball had ended up in one of the worst places imaginable, deep, in a bush. Every golfer knows that feeling. You think you've hit a decent shot, only to find it in a spot where recovery seems nearly impossible. This was no ordinary bad lie. The ball was buried in thick shrubbery, with almost no clear way out. And yet, this was the moment where Spieth's creativity and courage would shine the brightest. There was no clean shot to the hole. The lie was awful, the position even worse. And, to make things more complicated, Spieth had to consider the angle of the shot, the placement of the hole, and the wind. It all added up to what looked like an impossible scenario. As Spieth walked up to his ball, you could almost see the gears turning in his mind. Any golfer in that position would be thinking the same thing. What now? For most, this is the moment when frustration kicks in, when panic takes over. But not Spieth. Instead of rushing, he paused. He took a deep breath, surveyed the situation, and started weighing his options. He could try to muscle the ball out of the bushes with a wedge, risky and far from guaranteed. He could go bold, hoping to pull off a miracle shot. Or he could do something completely unexpected. And that's exactly what he chose to do. This moment on the 11th hole would set the stage for one of the most iconic shots of his career. Spieth was about to turn an impossible lie into pure golfing magic. Spieth's ball had landed in one of the worst places a golfer can imagine, deep inside a bush. We've all had those moments. You think you've hit a solid shot, only to walk up and realize it's nestled in a spot where the odds of recovery feel close to zero. In Spieth's case, the lie was brutal. The ball was buried in thick shrubbery, with no clear path to the green. The position was bad, the angle worse, and to top it off, he had to factor in the wind and the exact placement of the hole. Everything about this situation screamed no. Shot. As Spieth approached the ball, you could see the wheels turning. Most golfers in that position would feel the pressure rise. What now? That's the first question that hits you. Do you try to punch it out with a wedge? Play it safe and take the drop? Go for the hero shot and hope for the best? But Spieth didn't flinch. He took a breath, stepped back, and calmly assessed the scene. Then, instead of going the conventional route, he chose to think outside the box. And that's where the magic began. He could have tried to muscle it out of the bushes with a wedge, but there were no guarantees. He could have gone full throttle, swinging for a miracle. Or he could pause, reset, and think completely outside the box. And that's exactly what he did. With calmness and quiet confidence, Spieth stepped up. He assessed the lie, adjusted his grip, and in a move no one saw coming, he lined up with his putter. Then, with a smooth, controlled stroke, he sent the ball rolling. The shot was nothing short of brilliant. This wasn't just about hitting the ball. It was about reading the terrain, managing the impossible lie, and executing with finesse. Spieth didn't just make a shot. He made a statement. There was something almost poetic in the way he turned chaos into control. In a moment that seemed completely lost, he relied not on power, but on creativity, touch, and pure golfing instinct. Watching it unfold felt like witnessing a brushstroke of genius, art in motion. It wasn't just athleticism on display. It was adaptability, vision, and ice-cold composure under pressure. And the result? Even more stunning than the shot itself. Spieth managed to get the ball back in play, setting himself up for a chance to save par from what looked like certain disaster. The crowd erupted. Cheers echoed across the course as fans leapt to their feet, witnessing a moment of pure brilliance. Jordan Spieth may not have walked away with the trophy that day, but it didn't matter, because the impact of that one shot was undeniable. It wasn't about the scorecard. It was about a move so bold, so unexpected, that it stunned the entire golf world. That left-handed putter shot became more than just a highlight. It became a symbol of the sport's unpredictable magic. A reminder that sometimes it's not power or perfection that defines greatness. It's creativity, quick thinking, and the courage to try something extraordinary. Spieth's decision didn't just save the hole. It reignited something in the hearts of fans. It reminded everyone why we watch this game in the first place. Golf isn't just about form and precision. It's about imagination, resilience, and turning chaos into art. His boldness set the tone for the rest of the tournament, inspiring players and fans alike. And for those lucky enough to witness it live, it was a moment they'll never forget. A once-in-a-lifetime shot etched forever in golfing history. The reactions from fans were instant and filled with awe. Social media lit up. Highlight reels went viral, and those who witnessed it live struggled to describe what they'd just seen. Words like unreal, legendary, and straight out of a golf myth were everywhere. One fan, seated near the 11th hole, recalled the exact moment with vivid clarity. We were all just sitting there watching him line up with a putter, and then boom, it happened. The ball rolled perfectly back into play. I've never heard a golf crowd erupt like that. It was one of those moments where you just knew history was being made. Another fan shared how that single shot reshaped their view of Spieth's game. He's always been one of my favorites, but after that, I'm convinced he's a magician. To try something so bold, so completely unexpected. It was like watching someone rewrite the rule book right in front of us. I don't think anyone's topping that anytime soon. The general mood among fans was pure admiration. Whether they were there in person or watching from home, everyone agreed. This wasn't just a great shot. It was a defining moment, A reminder of why golf, with all its precision and pressure, still has the power to surprise us. But fans weren't just blown away by the skill it took to pull off that shot. They were equally amazed by Spieth's confidence and mental toughness to even attempt something so risky, especially under the pressure of a high-stakes tournament. Within minutes, social media exploded. Clips of the shot spread like wildfire. Fans from around the world praised Spieth's brilliance, calling it one of the boldest moves they'd ever seen on a golf course. Golf analysts were just as stunned. To them, this wasn't just a cool highlight. It was a statement. What Spieth did at the Phoenix Open was one of the most creative moments I've ever witnessed in golf, said renowned golf analyst David Faherty. In all my years covering the sport, I've never seen someone pull off a left-handed shot with a putter from a bush. It was absolute brilliance, and it shows just how mentally sharp Spieth is, even when everything seems stacked against him. Other analysts echoed that sentiment, noting that while the shot might have looked like a one-off miracle, it was actually classic Spieth. He's always been a creative, risk-taking player, someone who sees possibilities where others see problems. Spieth's creativity is one of the things that makes him so electric to watch, one commentator said. He doesn't just play golf, he creates it. That's what makes him so special, said another analyst. That shot wasn't just flashy, it proved Spieth is willing to take bold chances when the odds are stacked against him. It's not just about pulling off a quirky move, it's about his mindset. He attacks every moment with confidence and composure. The consensus among golf experts was clear. What Spieth did wasn't just rare, it was historically brilliant. Golf is a game, built on precision and tradition where creativity often takes a back seat to consistency. And yet, Spieth broke that mold, executing a shot so daring, so flawlessly, that it's already being etched into the game's lore. Analysts also pointed out his performance during the tournament as a whole. In 2 of the 3 rounds, Spieth gained over 3 shots on the greens, a stat that turned heads and set the golf world buzzing. But as remarkable as that week was, this story isn't just about one tournament. It's about a comeback, a story of grit, resilience, and rediscovering greatness, of battling through injuries, navigating slumps, silencing doubt, and proving once again why Jordan Spieth remains one of the most captivating figures in golf. And in this article, we're diving into all of it. The moment, the mindset, the legacy in the making. Now, let's break down how Jordan Spieth arrived at this pivotal moment, what makes it so special, and what it means for his future in the game of golf. Spieth's career had always been on a steady rise. After winning the U.S. Open and the Masters in 2015, it seemed like he was on the verge of becoming the dominant force in golf for years to come. But as is often the case in sports, things don't always go according to plan. Spieth struggled to maintain that peak form. His putting, once a key strength, became inconsistent, and as every golfer knows, putting can make or break a career. But the real challenge came when Spieth began experiencing persistent pain in his left wrist. This discomfort had been lingering for months, but it finally reached a tipping point in late August 2024, when Spieth made the difficult decision to undergo surgery. This surgery was more than just a physical hurdle for Spieth. It was a mental test as well. Battling through the wrist injury for so long, finally addressing it head-on, was a testament to his determination to reclaim his best form. But this wouldn't be a quick fix. Recovery from wrist surgery, especially for a golfer, is no small task. It requires time, patience, and relentless work. Spieth knew this and approached the rehab process with the kind of focus and resilience that have defined his career from the very beginning. With a cautious mindset, Spieth focused on rebuilding his physical fitness and getting his body back into competitive shape. The goal wasn't just to return to the course, it was to do so in a way that allowed him to perform at his highest level once again. Even with the surgery behind him, Spieth wasn't immediately back to his old self. It took time for him to find his rhythm. His form post-surgery was inconsistent, and as a result, his world ranking dropped to number 77, a far cry from the top of the leaderboard where he had once reigned. But despite this, Spieth never lost sight of his long-term goals. He remained focused on short-term objectives, contending at major tournaments, securing a spot on the U.S. Ryder Cup team, and sharpening his game in high-pressure situations. He knew that if he could perform well in these high-stakes moments, his confidence would grow and his form would follow, even if the results weren't immediate. Fast forward to the Valero Texas Open, and Spieth was ready to take the next step in his comeback journey. The Valero Texas Open, one of the PGA Tour's premier events, marked a significant turning point in Spieth's comeback. It wasn't just about finishing strong, it was about showcasing the progress he'd made over the course of 3 rounds. Spieth displayed a level of skill that had been missing from his game for a while, but the real highlight? His putting. To put it simply, Spieth was putting like a man on a mission. In fact, in 2 of the 3 rounds, he gained over 3 shots on the greens, an incredibly impressive stat, especially for someone who had struggled with their putting in recent years. This wasn't just about making a few good putts here and there. This was about total control and unwavering confidence on the greens. What made this even more remarkable was the fact that he did it under pressure. Spieth has always been known for his mental toughness, and this tournament was no exception. It wasn't just about hitting great shots. It was about doing it when the stakes were high and when every stroke mattered. It wasn't just about hitting great shots. It was about staying composed, trusting his game, and refusing to let the challenges of the past hold him back. When you watch Spieth play, it's clear just how much his putting has improved. His stroke is smoother, his reads of the greens sharper, and his overall confidence radiates from each shot. This was a player who had battled self-doubt, struggled with inconsistency, and yet here he was, putting on a clinic in one of the most important tournaments of the season. It wasn't just about the numbers or rankings. It was about proving to himself and to the world that he still had what it takes. But Spieth's performance wasn't just a technical showcase. It was a testament to his mental and emotional resilience. Golf, as any golfer knows, is just as much a mental game as it is a physical one. Spieth had been through a lot over the past few years, battling injury, enduring the frustrations of falling out of the world's top ranks, and wrestling with his own sense of self-belief. Despite falling out of the top ranks, Spieth was able to keep his head in the game. He knew that every round, every hole was another step in his comeback journey. By the end of the tournament, he had not only proven